Earlier, things kept agitating me. The fan for the computer kept turning on. Things kept falling down. And I made subtle adjustments to my environment. That now, I'm not overheating as much. Like the computer was overheating, I was overheating. There was a lot of hot energy in the room. And it kind of hampered my ability to do things. But now that I'm not really giving in to that like hot energy, I feel like I'm able to eke out an understanding of what it is that I want to put forth. But there's other things that I also want to talk about that maybe I'm like, maybe I should talk about later, but maybe they're actually revelations of the true thing. Repetition of cycles that are repeating over and over, unseen to my eye. That if I simply do the action now, this cycle will end. I will no longer be bothered by the thing which continuates the cycle. Which pushes me back into what I was talking about isolation. I never really finished that thought. I get overwhelmed and I tend to isolate because I sense too much stuff going on and I don't know what to do about the things that I'm sensing. Because oftentimes, the things that I'm sensing have been proven to be factual, that I was sensing those things. But I've only known that in hindsight. So then to act on it with future knowledge before it happens feels odd. It's like it's just so crazy. You're trying to like actively tell people like you don't want to walk down that timeline because that's not a good one. But it's like, how can you conceptualize that? And it's like I just can. Okay, buddy, I can just see the dominoes 10 steps ahead of you. That's all. I can't even really see the dominoes 100 steps in front of that all the time. I can't even see some of how my past dominoes have fallen into my current dominoes that I am in the moment. And isolation always felt like a good way to just quiet the outside noise so I could figure out what the inside noise was. But I noticed that like I used to love going to the movies. But now I don't have the ability or capacity to sit through a movie without getting a migraine, without getting overwhelmed, or energetically imbalanced. It kind of makes me sad to a degree because I movies was one of the things that I really loved. Like you go out and you just kind of be quiet, and you experience something and it's fun. You like have popcorn. You maybe might chat with the person next to you if you're going with somebody. And now that gives me a migraine because it's just so overstimulating. I'm like, damn, was I doing the right thing by trying to limit my stimulation? I thought that like maybe there was something that needed to heal because it was just getting agitated too much. It didn't have the ability to heal, like a cut you keep ripping the scab off of. But I'm figuring out it was something else or something different. Yeah. It really kind of upsets me. Because I'm trying to improve myself, but it ends up that some of the steps that I took towards improving myself ended up being partially detrimental. I'm trying to improve myself all around. So I'm trying to like read more and stuff like that and not really get stuck into the old habits that I normally get stuck into. And the other day, like, I had this like moment of clarity where I like looked at the bookshelf before I made a decision to go partake in my libations. And I looked at the bookshelf and this book just fucking stood out to me. Can you? It's probably backwards. Is that backwards or forwards? Can I just read backwards? Fuck. That's like a fucky thing too. The fact that I can read backwards, I'm like, is that legible or not? Because to me in the camera, left to right, the power of the poem of the man god. But when I look back this way now, yeah. Damn, that's how like your overcompensation or like your ability to do things outside of the norm might affect your ability to operate within the norm. Because then when you go to try and demonstrate something to somebody, you show them in a way that makes sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to them. But it makes sense to you because you have the capacity to understand and the knowledge of what it was beforehand, before you flipped it around and showed somebody. But this book stuck out to me and I was like, I feel like reading it. I only really read like the forward and like the first like 17 pages or so. It's like a 1,500 page long Harry Potter type fucking thickness fan fiction about Jesus. And the only reason I say a fan fiction is because she didn't draw off of any historical sources to construct this story. She constructed a story of Jesus's grandparents, the parents to Mary, Mary's life, Jesus's life, and all the way up until his what do they call it? His the glorification. So she like biographizes Jesus's life from pre-birth to post-death. And she does it through the revelation of her psychic visions. And it's actually kind of cool because it answers questions that I have had since I was a child. I did wonder, what were Jesus's grandparents like? Who were Mary's parents? These are questions that I actually had, and to see that there's a source that fucking says this is a psychic interpretation of what it was. That's kind of cool. That kind of speaks to me personally because I love psychics and shit. But I think I really needed to read this to read the forward. Because Maria Valtorta was a recluse. She socially isolated herself and experienced periods of infirmity, which is basically stupor or cataplexy, maybe. She couldn't really do anything for herself. She would let herself be fed and things like that. Mainly because she was pushing her mind to such extents that her body was trying to rationalize its usefulness. And she entered one of these like worst phases of stupor or infirmity after her works were actually rejected. So it's like she was trying to figure out how to communicate with the world. And when her attempt to communicate with the world fell flat, she just stopped all attempts. Um, until she was ultimately confronted by like some of her writings, and then she snapped out of it, which means that it was definitely like a psychological condition, and probably imposed by the self, subconsciously or consciously. Um, because she like snapped out of it for like a moment and then fell right back into it. Like she snapped out of it just long enough to explain herself and then fell right back into it. But the revelation to me is that most of these people who travel down the path of being a psychic, of trying to interpret these great mysteries, end up end up spending a cost that they didn't intend upon. They lose something, physicality, ability to socialize, in pursuit of the greater something that's happening in the upstairs. I kind of saw this as like a warning to myself, like, dude, this is what you're doing to yourself. Like, if you want to write a book about what you think Jesus's life might have been like, go the fuck ahead and just write that damn book already. Write a fucking 3,000 page book, because this lady did it. And she's suffering from pretty much the same exact kind of things. And the only thing that really gave her validation to do it was some priest was like, he encouraged her. He was like, you should record this. You should write all this down as like a testament to your struggles as a person. And he was like, maybe in some way that can help other people as well, seeing you. Damn, isn't that some crazy fucking shit? It is helping me in a way, because it's revealing to me, like, isolation does